Welcome back to CGI Stories at University of California, San Diego. I'm joined by Matt and Saeed. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you guys are pretty famous because you're currently in the running for the championship of the Bracket Challenge, right?
This is so.
That's pretty exciting. So we'll know what happens very shortly. But right now we just want to hear about your commitment and sort of about your history with CGI U. I know this is maybe the third time that you've been to CGI U. How did you get involved to begin with, and how did you get inspired to do what you're doing with the school fund?
Yeah, so I was on a trip to Tanzania 3 years ago, and I met a little boy there named John Meadow. And he was graduating from primary school at the very top of his class, but he was from one of the poorest communities in his town. And we were just kind of there on safari, seeing the sights, and he came up to me and started talking to me. And I learned that, he was graduating from primary school that year, very bright kid, brave enough to come up to a tourist and start talking to him. And he told me he wants to grow up and become president of Tanzania one day. But the next thing I learned was that he was not going to be able to go to secondary school, high school, because of school fees of $150 per year. And I thought that, that's not much money. I can actually help him out myself. So that's what I did. And I paid for John's first year, my family and I, to go to his first year of high school.
That's terrific. So that was sort of the genesis of the idea. Where did you go from there?
Yeah, so we kind of have been following projects like Kiva, that are these tremendously successful microfinance platforms that allow people anywhere in the world to come onto their site, see entrepreneurs all around the developing world, pick one to lend money to, and you kind of develop a little bit of a relationship with that person. And we thought that this person-to-person funding model could actually be applied to education and could be even more effective with education because, a Kiva loan is a one-time thing. Where you go on, lend money to the entrepreneur, they go off and start their business. But with education, it's a long-term investment, right? So if you actually give people the opportunity to develop a relationship with a student in Tanzania or a student in Kenya, they might be interested in supporting that student year after year.
Great. Saeed, how did you get involved?
Well, I met Matt. I'm a freshman at Brown, and Matt's a senior, and he was at the volunteer fair, and he gave me a rundown of what the school fund was. And I felt that was very interesting, especially since the previous summer I was in Kenya, and a lot of my cousins actually weren't attending school before because they couldn't afford school fees. So meeting somebody who started a nonprofit just to solve that problem of increasing access to education, I was very I felt a connection to that, and it was he was very passionate about the project. So I felt that, and since then, I've been working with him, and every week I go to his house and really expanding the project.
So are the beneficiaries of the school fund mainly in East Africa then?
Yeah, that's a great question. Do you mind if I show a little bit? So we started out with just 32 students in Tanzania. Can you see that there? And I guess I can just go through real quick and show you guys how this works. But basically, we collect data on each of the students that's on our site. So you can go on and see students that want to be doctors, see students that want to be pilots. And what we're trying to do is kind of take the traditional, sponsor child, send a student to school model and bring it into the 21st century. You see a lot of these organizations that say, can you give $320 to support the student? But you never know where the money's going, what it's being used for. And there's no way to develop that connection with the student because you're just kind of giving. So, here we are. And when you click on a student, you see, maybe I can do it this way, it goes a little bigger. You can see exactly, what the school fees are, broken down to the dollar.
And that's the fees to go to school, uniform cost,
some school supplies, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are kind of the 5 categories we have. Tuition, the school supplies, uniform, food for lunch, and then exams. A lot of countries, you need to pay like $8 to take the national exam. So in an effort to kind of establish a new level of accountability in international aid, we collect receipts whenever we send money to a school.
That's awesome.
We raised $202 for Chiku, this little girl here, in Tanzania last year, and what we do is we collect a receipt that says this school received $202 for Chiku's 3rd year of high school. And then lastly, there's a way to actually communicate. So once again, going back to that relationship building piece, we wanted to allow funders and students the opportunity to communicate with one another. We thought that was very important. So back to your original question of where do these students come from? We started out by identifying 32 students in Tanzania, in John's community and in another community. And we realized pretty quickly that this tool could benefit many, many different organizations. So all those traditional send a student to school organizations could put their students up on our site, and that's exactly what we've done. So yesterday when President Clinton announced our announcement, he was saying our commitment, he's saying we're going to be in Zimbabwe, Uganda, Malawi, and it's all through these partners. And that's how we're going to end up in 11 countries by the end of this year.
Right, because otherwise you have limited capacity to go and kind of audit and take the pictures and send the receipts and all of that.
Yeah,
so to work with these partners just adds value to their work and adds value to yours as well. What a great idea.
Thank you.
I mean, I know I spent time in Tanzania as well, and I had the exact same experience of seeing a lot of school children that didn't have access to the basic materials and the uniforms and all the stuff they needed to go to school. So it's an important problem to be addressing, and we're just glad that you're bringing it here to CGI U to share with other people. How's your experience been here
Amazing.
thus far? Yeah.
Oh my God. The guests, the speakers, the panels, the people, the students, everything has been amazing.
That's great.
Really.
That's great. And you, it's an old hat for you. But,
well, I must say this year has been really amazing. I came in at the Tulane meeting when I was a freshman. Like say, I didn't quite get the fun treatment that we're getting this year, but I made the commitment to basically just do something in education in Tanzania. That was the spring after I met John.
4 years ago.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I had no idea what the heck we were going to do. I just thought it'd be nice to support education somehow. So that was kind of before anything had taken shape. But since then, we've got this project really off the ground and going.
That's great. Plans for the next couple of years? Just continue to grow? Any new innovations that you see in your future?
Well, first of all, this summer, Matt and I are going to Tanzania and Kenya and maybe Burundi. And just make an East Africa trip and see some of the students. But overall, obviously this project is 100% scalable. More partners, more countries, more students, help as many students as we can. And also there's other aspects that we haven't tapped into. For example, helping specific schools. And another feature that will go live soon is having schools have the opportunity to fundraise through our website. So having a school profile and having them the opportunity to raise, for example, money for 10 computers or for a 3-day workshop on some issue in the community. So that we really feel it's really scalable.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and we've got a wonderful team of people. There's 22 of us actually working on this project. Some at Brown, at UPenn, Cornell, and BU. And one of my friends who I went to high school with, Roxana Musavian, is at UPenn now, and she's very interested in kind of how we can move beyond just funding students and, like Saeed was saying, actually fund schools so that, once you send a student to school, you got to make sure they're getting a quality education at the school, right?
Right.
So make sure the school is well equipped with learning materials, make sure that the teachers are actually, have something interesting to teach rather than just reading out of a pre-made lesson plan. So we're looking at a way to bring this kind of interesting person-to-person funding model with the communication and bring it to improve quality of education as well.
Fantastic. How can people find your website?
Yeah, it's very simple. It's www.theschoolfund.org, and you can go on there, fund a student, change a life.
Great. Thank you guys, Matt, Saeed. Thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.